Today I'd like to talk about Bob Dylan's Sweetheart Like You. I've mentioned this song in some of my other videos, and I say it's an easy example to notice that we're talking about Jesus in this song, in this song in some way, shape, or fashion, because this line, they say in your Father's house there's many mansions, each one of them got a fireproof floor. That's like directly relating to John 14:2. So let's take a look at John 14:2. Alright. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. So, Dylan, they say in your Father's house there's many mansions. Each one of them got a fireproof floor. Now, of course, that each one of them got a fireproof floor, that's not in John chapter 14. But I think it's a very interesting look at well, someone is obviously addressing Jesus here. They say in your Father's house there's many mansions. So that's, to me, that's addressing Jesus. Now, so each one of them got a fireproof floor. What does that say about the mansions? I'll leave that for you, but I think it says something interesting about the mansions. Okay, so I want to talk about this verse here. You know, you could make a name for yourself. You can make a name for yourself. You can hear them tires squeal. You can be known as the most beautiful woman who ever crawled across cut glass to make a deal. Okay. Deal. If you go, a synonym for covenant is deal. Okay? So, let's talk about covenants. Okay? Let's talk about Mathew 26:28. What is he talking about? What's going on with this deal? We're talking, Jesus is somehow involved, and now they're talking about a deal. So covenant is how it's talked about in Mathew 26:28. Alright. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. Okay, of the New Testament. I think sometimes they call that the covenant. Let's try Mark 14:24. Maybe that'll be a little better to illustrate my point here. 14:24. And he said unto them, this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. Okay. I think testament there is synonymous with covenant also. But what's being said here is you can make a name for yourself. You can hear them tires squeal. You can be known as the most beautiful woman who ever crawled across cut glass to make a deal. So my assertion here is that the deal has something to do with Jesus laying down his life for the remission of sins. He was talking about it here. Something about the remission of sins. So the crawled across cut glass to make a deal. That's more or less the talk about the crucifixion. And the things that led up to it. The whole. But that's the whoever crawled across cut glass to make a deal. So the deal is referencing the covenant and I should explain that better, but that's the deal we're talking about here. Okay, what about I once knew a woman who looked like you. She wanted a whole man, not just a half. I think that line is kind of talking a whole man, not just a half. In a way of thinking, Jesus is like half man, half God. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what it's referencing there. A whole man, not just a half. She used to call me sweet daddy when I was only a child. You kind of remind me of your Now, why would that make sense to say she used to call me? Forget the she. That's talking about Jesus. She used to call me sweet daddy when I was only a child. Okay? Jesus, the Son of Man, right? It would make sense that he would call a little kid daddy. Okay? So, I think that's what's going on there. And then this, you kind of remind me when you laugh. You kind of remind me of her when you laugh. What that's talking about is, people let their guard down a little when they laugh. And so, it's talking about you kind of remind me of her when you laugh. You remind the guy of Jesus when you laugh. That's what he's saying. I want to talk a little bit about, news of you has come. What's this one? News of you has come down the line even before you came in the door. Okay, this is the promise of the Messiah. This is written by a guy named Walter Kaiser Jr. from back in 2006. So what he's saying is these, like Genesis 3:15, Messiah would be the seed, offspring of a woman, and would crush the head of Satan. Genesis 3:15. These are the prophecies of Jesus coming. Okay, news of you has come down the line even before you came in the door. This is what Dylan's talking about. These prophecies. He would be born in Bethlehem of Judah. Micah 5:2. He would be born of a virgin. Isaiah 7:14. He would have a throne, a kingdom, and a dynasty, or a house, starting with King David, that will last forever. 2 Samuel 7:16. There's a whole, let's see, I'll go on for a couple more. He would be pierced for our transgression. Isaiah 53:5. He is the one whom Israel will one day recognize as the one they pierced, causing bitter grief. Zechariah 12:10. He would be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, and possess an everlasting kingdom. Isaiah 9:6-7. We get a little taste of all the nicknames he's called. Okay, he's got a lot of nicknames. But Jesus is the sweetheart like you. He's he's kind of referenced in the feminine pronoun. I've talked about that before. But that's just a disguise. You got to be able to look through those disguises to really see what they're talking about. I once knew a woman who looked like you. She wanted a whole man, not just a half. All right, so I think that's enough for today, and I will probably have a part 2 to this, and